How to be silently attractive. 10. Socially attractive habits. I've got a question for you. What if the most attractive thing about you had nothing to do with your looks, your clothes, or your Instagram followers? What if it was all about how you carry yourself, how you make people feel, and the quiet, almost invisible things you do that make others want to be around you? Let's face it, we all know those people who just have this magnetic energy about them. You know, the ones who walk into a room, and suddenly, it's like everyone's paying attention. Even though they're not the loudest, the flashiest, or the most obvious in the crowd. They don't need to scream for attention. It's almost like they're silently attractive. Now, here's the kicker. You can be that person. And no, it's not about being perfect or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about harnessing a few simple, powerful habits that will make you more attractive, without saying a word. It's about building real, lasting connections and showing up as your most confident, magnetic self without the need for all the noise and drama. In this video, we're diving into 10 simple but game-changing habits that will help you become silently attractive in ways you probably never thought about. So if you're tired of trying to force charm or relying on surface-level tricks, this is for you. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. Let's get into it. 1. Presence over perfection. All right, let's kick things off with one of the most underrated ways to become silently attractive. Being present. You've probably been around people who seem like they're always somewhere else, thinking about their next move, checking their phone every 5 seconds, or just lost in their own world. And how does that make you feel? Distracted, maybe even a little unimportant, right? Now think about the people who are the complete opposite. They don't need to check their phone. They're not thinking about the meeting they have later. They're with you, right there, in the moment. When someone's fully present, you feel it. You can tell they're genuinely listening, paying attention, and that they're not just waiting for their turn to talk. It's powerful, it's magnetic, it's real. And here's the thing. Being present doesn't require any effort or acting. You don't need to try to look perfect or have the right thing to say every time. What people find attractive isn't your Instagram-worthy smile or the way you look on the outside. It's how you make them feel. And when you're truly present with someone, they feel valued. I've noticed that when I focus entirely on a conversation, no distractions, no rush to move on to the next thing, people respond differently. They open up more, they trust you more, and honestly, they like you more. It's not about impressing them with your words. It's about showing up fully in the moment. So, next time you're talking to someone, put down the phone, take a deep breath, and just be there. You'll be amazed at how much more connected you feel to them, and how much more attracted they'll be to you. Takeaway: the more you're able to be present, without the pressure of being perfect, the more you'll draw people in with your calm, confident energy. 2. Body language. That speaks volumes. All right, next up, body language. Now this is a big one, because even when you're silent, your body is talking. And sometimes, it says more than words ever could. Think about it. Have you ever been in a room and felt someone's presence before they even spoke? Maybe it was the way they carried themselves, the way they walked, or the way they stood in the room. Confident, relaxed, almost like they owned the space. People like that aren't trying to be noticed, they just are. The key to body language that's silently attractive is this. It's all about confidence, openness, and subtlety. It's not about standing in a power pose all day. We're not trying to be Superman here. It's about little things that speak volumes. Things like posture. Standing tall with your shoulders back gives off a quiet, confident vibe. It tells people that you're comfortable in your own skin without you saying a word. Eye contact. When you look someone in the eye, without staring them down, it creates a sense of connection. It says, I'm here, I'm engaged, and I respect you. And when people feel respected, they feel drawn to you. Facial expressions. Ever notice how a relaxed face can make someone seem more approachable? You don't have to smile constantly, but a natural, soft expression makes you feel welcoming without trying too hard. Personal space. Being mindful of the space around you is key. People who can gauge the right distance to stand from someone make them feel comfortable and respected. Too close? That's off-putting. Too far away? That can seem distant. The thing is, your body's language is always speaking. And if you want to be silently attractive, the trick is to keep your body relaxed, open, and grounded. This doesn't mean trying to be something you're not, but rather, learning to move through the world with subtle confidence. Here's a little personal insight from me. I used to slouch a lot, mostly out of nervousness or feeling self-conscious. But once I started straightening up and becoming more aware of how I was carrying myself, people's responses changed. They started to engage with me more. They smiled at me first, and conversations felt smoother. Funny how something so simple could make such a big difference, right? Takeaway. When you're aware of your body language, even in the smallest ways, it speaks louder than words. Stand tall, make eye contact, and let your body show the confidence you feel on the inside. 3. Self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Now, let's talk about something that can instantly elevate your attractiveness without you even realizing it. Self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Okay, you know that person who just seems to get you? The one who can read the room, understand exactly how you're feeling without you saying much, and respond in a way that feels both kind and insightful? That's emotional intelligence in action, and it's one of the most quietly attractive traits you can develop. Being emotionally intelligent doesn't mean being overly dramatic or always knowing what to say in every situation. It's actually about being aware of your own feelings, as well as being able to tune into the feelings of those around you. When you can do that, you create an emotional connection that goes way beyond words. Here's an example. Have you ever been in a group conversation where one person just seems to understand the vibe? Maybe the topic shifted, and they can tell it's making others uncomfortable, so they adjust, without anyone having to point it out. That's emotional intelligence. It's the ability to pick up on subtle cues, read body language, and respond appropriately, all without needing to make a big show of it. And when you have a high level of emotional intelligence, you're comfortable with yourself. You don't feel the need to constantly seek validation or approval. Instead, you're calm, grounded, and people feel safe around you. It's that safe, reassuring energy that draws people in, whether they're aware of it or not. On a personal note, I've realized that when I stop worrying so much about how I'm being perceived and just focus on understanding the emotions of the people around me, it changes everything. Conversations flow more naturally. I can tell when someone needs a little extra support or when they're in a playful mood. And that ability to connect on an emotional level makes you feel instantly more attractive. Takeaway: when you understand yourself and are in tune with the emotions of others, your ability to connect on a deeper level increases, making you more attractive without even trying. 4. The power of listening. I'm going to let you in on a secret. One of the most attractive things you can do in any social situation is listen. Sounds simple, right? But it's one of the most underused tools when it comes to connecting with people. Think about the last time someone truly listened to you. Not just waiting for their turn to speak, not checking their watch, but actually listening to every word, every pause. It feels good, doesn't it? When someone listens deeply, it makes you feel seen, heard, and valued. And here's the thing. People love being around those who make them feel that way. It's not about what you say. It's how you make others feel in the conversation. Being a good listener is an underrated form of silent attraction because when you're actively listening, you're creating an emotional connection. It's about being genuinely interested in what the other person has to say. You don't need to interrupt with your own thoughts or tell them how you would do things differently. You just need to be present with them in that moment. I can tell you from experience. When I started being more mindful of my listening skills, the quality of my relationships drastically improved. I wasn't just waiting for my turn to speak, I was absorbing what others were saying. It made conversations flow naturally, and before I knew it, people were coming to me for advice, confiding in me, and just enjoying being around me more. Why? Because I was listening, truly listening. Here's the magic in it. Listening doesn't require you to be anything other than yourself. You don't have to act more interesting, dress a certain way, or try to entertain someone. You just need to focus, give them space to speak, and show that you genuinely care. That's an incredibly attractive quality. Takeaway. Active listening is a superpower that creates deep, authentic connections. When you listen without distractions, people feel understood, and that makes you more attractive, without saying a word. 5. Humility, the strength in softness. Let's talk about something that often gets overlooked when we talk about attraction: humility. You'd think that the most attractive people are always the loudest, the boldest, the ones who are constantly showing off their achievements, right? But here's the secret. True attraction doesn't come from shouting about what you've done or what you've got. It comes from humility. Now, don't get me wrong. It's important to feel proud of what you've accomplished. But here's the thing. When you don't feel the need to constantly announce it, people notice. Humility doesn't mean downplaying your accomplishments or acting like they don't matter. It means you're comfortable in your own skin, and you don't need external validation to feel worthy. People respect that, and they're naturally drawn to it. There's a certain softness that comes with humility. It's a quiet confidence that doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to be in your face. Think about the people you know who are truly comfortable with themselves. They don't walk around boasting about their achievements or trying to make others feel small. They simply are, and that's magnetic. For me, I've always been more drawn to people who can talk about their successes without bragging. The ones who show respect for others, regardless of status or what they've done. I remember a mentor of mine who had this quiet, humble way of interacting. They could have talked about all the incredible things they'd accomplished, but instead they focused on what they could offer others. And that's the kind of energy that pulls people in. When you're humble, people sense that you're grounded, and they respect you for it. It's the kind of attraction that isn't fleeting. It's lasting, because it's rooted in self-assurance and respect for others. Takeaway: humility isn't about downplaying who you are. It's about recognizing your worth without needing to prove it. When you don't try to be the center of attention, you attract others in a way that's genuine and lasting. 6. Consistency, integrity in action. All right, here's a game changer for you. Consistency. And no, I'm not talking about being predictable in a boring way. I'm talking about being someone who follows through on their word, stays true to their values, and shows up every time without needing a round of applause. Consistency is one of the quietest but most powerful forms of attraction because it speaks to integrity. And integrity? That's magnetic. Think about it. People who are consistent, whether it's showing up on time, keeping promises, or simply being there for others, are the ones who earn trust. And trust is the foundation of any good relationship, whether it's romantic, professional, or platonic. When someone can count on you, they'll naturally be drawn to you. You're a rock, a steady presence in a world that's constantly changing. I've always admired people who are who they say they are. The ones who don't have to put on a front or be someone they're not to gain approval. Their actions speak louder than any words could. They show up, they follow through, and they do it with genuine care. I've learned that it's not about trying to impress people. It's about being reliable and staying true to your word. It's about showing up for others, even when there's nothing to gain for yourself. When you live with integrity, people know they can count on you. That's what makes you quietly attractive. Your consistency creates a sense of trust and safety that others naturally gravitate toward. Takeaway: your consistency in actions, not words, shows people that you are trustworthy and dependable. That kind of quiet integrity builds deep, lasting connections, and it's one of the most attractive things you can offer. 7. The quiet confidence of independence. Let's talk about independence for a second. Not the kind of independence where you push everyone away and do everything on your own. That's just isolating. I'm talking about the kind of independence that radiates confidence because you don't rely on anyone for validation or a sense of worth. The quietly attractive person is someone who has their own life, their own passions, and isn't afraid to pursue them. They don't need constant attention, affirmation, or someone else's approval to feel good about themselves. They are secure in who they are, and that security makes them magnetic. Think about it. When you're around someone who's truly independent, you don't feel like they're clinging to you for validation or emotional support. Instead, you feel a sense of ease, like you can simply enjoy their company without the pressure of performing. They've got their own thing going on, and they're comfortable with that. It's refreshing. For me, the most attractive people I know are the ones who can confidently be on their own and do their own thing, but also know how to be present in relationships without needing to be constantly attached to someone. They've found balance. Independence doesn't mean pushing people away or building walls. It means you've got your own life, and you're comfortable in it. When you have this kind of confidence, it's like a silent force that draws people in because you're not chasing after anyone's approval. You're living your truth. Takeaway: true independence isn't about being alone. It's about being whole within yourself. When you're emotionally independent, you radiate a sense of confidence that's incredibly attractive to others. 8. Generosity of spirit. All right, here's something that will really set you apart. Generosity of spirit. This is one of those qualities that's so subtle, yet it has the power to make people feel like you're the most attractive person in the room, without you even trying. Now, I'm not talking about big grand gestures, though those are nice too. I'm talking about the small, everyday acts of kindness that show your generosity. It's the way you show up for others in ways that don't expect anything in return. It could be something as simple as a thoughtful compliment, taking the time to listen to someone when they're feeling down, or sharing your knowledge when someone asks for help. It's the little things that build a foundation of trust and goodwill. When you're generous, you create a sense of abundance, not scarcity. You show that you don't need to hoard affection, attention, or success because there's enough to go around, and that energy is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are kind and selfless, especially when that generosity is authentic. I've seen firsthand how small acts of kindness can make a huge impact. It's the person who gives you their time without expecting anything in return, or the person who goes out of their way to make sure you're okay when things aren't going well. Those quiet acts of generosity create bonds that are far more lasting than any flashy move or boastful statement could. And here's the thing. When you give from a place of generosity, people feel good around you. They feel seen, heard, and supported. And when people feel good in your presence, they naturally want to be around you more. Takeaway: generosity doesn't need to be loud or over the top. When you're generous with your time, your energy, or even just a kind word, you create a magnetic, lasting attraction that people can't ignore. 9. A sense of mystery. Letting people discover you. Okay, let's talk about something that might seem a little counterintuitive to what we usually hear about attraction. Mystery. You might think that in order to be attractive, you need to put it all out there, share every detail of your life, and let people know exactly who you are right away. But here's the secret. A little mystery is incredibly powerful. Being mysterious doesn't mean you're playing games or being dishonest. It's about letting people discover you over time. It's about giving them just enough to pique their curiosity and make them want to know more. When you hold back a little and don't give everything away in the first conversation, you create a sense of intrigue that pulls people in. You know those people who don't overshare, who don't drop everything about their lives in one go? They leave a little room for curiosity. And the thing is, this isn't a manipulative tactic. It's just about allowing a relationship to unfold naturally. There's something really attractive about someone who has layers to them. People want to dig a little deeper, learn more about you, and uncover what makes you tick. I've found that when I'm a bit more reserved and let people get to know me gradually, the conversations feel more meaningful. They ask questions, they listen closely, and they really invest in getting to know me. It's like building a little bit of suspense, without being overly mysterious or cold. It's all about balance. Being a little mysterious doesn't mean shutting people out. It's about leaving a bit of space for them to come closer, ask questions, and truly earn your trust. Takeaway: you don't have to put it all out there at once. A little mystery can keep people intrigued and wanting more, creating a quiet attraction that builds over time. 10. Authenticity, the core of silent attraction. And finally, we've come to what I believe is the most important habit of all: authenticity. This is the foundation of everything. Because no matter how many of the habits we've talked about you try to implement, if you're not being authentic to yourself, none of it will have the lasting power to make you truly attractive. Authenticity is about being comfortable in your own skin, embracing your quirks, flaws, and strengths, and letting the world see the real you. It's the ability to show up as you are, without pretending to be someone else or trying to fit into some mold. People can feel authenticity. It's like a magnet that draws others in because, at a deep level, we all crave realness. When you're authentic, you don't need to try so hard to impress. You simply are, and that's incredibly attractive. You don't need to play by anyone else's rules or live up to anyone else's expectations. You just live your life, speak your truth, and let your unique energy shine. And trust me, that's magnetic. I've noticed that the people I find most attractive are the ones who are unapologetically themselves. They might not fit into the typical perfect mold, but they own who they are. They don't try to pretend they're something they're not. And when I started embracing my own authenticity, I noticed that people around me responded differently. There was more trust, more openness, and more real connections because I wasn't hiding parts of myself anymore. Authenticity is the cornerstone of silent attraction because it doesn't rely on external validation. It's rooted in self-assurance. When you're authentic, people can feel that you're comfortable with who you are, and that comfort is magnetic. Takeaway: when you're true to yourself, when you embrace your quirks and uniqueness, that's when you become the most attractive version of yourself. Authenticity isn't something you do, it's something you are. Conclusion: the quiet power of attraction. So there you have it. 10 simple yet powerful habits that will make you silently attractive. No loud gestures, no flashy displays, just authentic, quiet confidence that draws people to you in ways words can't even explain. When you show up in the world with presence, humility, emotional intelligence, and generosity, you don't need to shout for attention. Your energy will speak for itself. And the best part: these habits are completely within your control. You don't need to change who you are to become attractive. You just need to lean into the best version of yourself and let it shine through naturally. Being silently attractive isn't about perfection. It's about showing up as your most authentic, grounded, and confident self, and letting people feel the magic of that energy. So, start practicing these habits in your everyday life, and watch how people are drawn to you, without you ever needing to try. Thanks for sticking around. I hope this video gave you something to think about and inspired you to embrace the quiet, powerful habits that make you more attractive than you could imagine. Stay grounded, stay authentic, and let the world see the amazing person you are, because you're more than enough, just as you are.